Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. It's tax time here on Talking Fitchburg, and that can mean only one person here to tell us some safety tips. Okay, there's a lot of people out there, but this guy got selected for today. For the Department of Ag, Trade, Consumer Protection, it's my friend Michael. Happy tax season.
That's what we want to keep it.
That's the way we want to keep it. Ooh,
right.
I like this. This is already off to a good start. Today we're going to be talking about fake tax refunds, a new twist on tax-related identity theft.
Yes.
It is the time of year, and we've got to get thinking about the taxes, getting those taxes in and done. But we also know that there's been a lot of fraud associated with tax returns, a lot of phishing, a lot of random emails, texts, related to tax, and it fits time of year, right? That's when we're seeing it the most. But this one's interesting. That it stands out a little bit. You're gonna be like, well, it's not that different, but still a twist. And I think the message of the day is these things continue. These folks continue to adapt to try to find the best way to scam you.
They do. We spend so much time when we sit and talk and have these opportunities about the different varieties of scams. And all those scams are kind of focused on achieving one of two things. One is to get your personal information, or two is to steal your money. Well, the first one is if they get your personal information, one of the things that they can use that information for as a portion of identity theft is to file taxes on you and then reroute that return. And so if you're waiting a little bit or you're not getting in, they have the right information, they file a tax return, and then those are the things that we've talked about, how that information can be misused. Well, the twist that we're seeing a little bit now is kind of that variation of the government imposter scam where they're impersonating to be the IRS. And this can be done a couple different ways. First, as we talked about spoofing with those phone numbers, and so they changed the phone number, so it looks like the IRS might actually be calling. Another is they send in from an email address that actually looks like it might be coming from the IRS. But even outside of those, it's the messaging that makes it sound like it really is the IRS that's reaching out and says, you need to do one of two things. You need to provide some more information, or you need to click on this link to verify some particular information. And this is either before you filed or even after you filed. And so right now we're in that stage where one of those two things have happened. Either we haven't filed yet or we have filed. So either way, that's going to apply depending on how the messaging is.
So the first thing that stands out to me here is if somebody contacts you unexpectedly, is that a red flag?
If it's unexpected, yes, that's a red flag.
I think you could say it about anybody, anything. Even if it's your family calling you unexpectedly, dang it. But no, in all seriousness, that there's a red flag here because that's the tactic.
It is the tactic. It's the unexpected, but it's also the fact that it's the IRS and that it's a government agency. And everyone needs to remember, these government agencies are not going to unexpectedly reach out to you and call you and ask you for your personal information or your banking information or how you can route any of that or your SSN or if you're a business, your EIN. None of that. They're either going to send you a letter or they're just not going to reach out at all. And so that's why I'm glad you pointed out that unexpected contact from the agency should be all kinds of red flags going off.
And it can come in not just a phone call. It can come in links of any sort. And it's so hard. It's so hard for me to click on any link now, period. It is because you just don't know.
It is. It's an unfortunate reality that those links can be so dangerous. And what those links will do is a couple things. The first is they'll reroute you potentially to a site that looks just like the IRS's site. We see them both being mimicked for the federal IRS and then also our state, Wisconsin Department of Revenue. And of course, you get there and it looks legitimate. Maybe it's the same site you were on a week ago to file your taxes. And so you're going to maybe be inclined to think this is believable and enter some information. The other is what we've talked about before is kind of clicking on that link and then all of a sudden there's some malware. And there's something that all of a sudden your device is now compromised or there's a backdoor and they're going to try and get some information that's on it or they're going to lock you out of it. Just bad things happen from clicking on those links.
Yeah, and again, you still unwanted, right? It's still coming in as an unwanted thing. So, I mean, if you start with there, sort of your checklist of unwanted, it's a link, why is the government contacting me? Right. It goes down that line, which still can be hard because, as you said, they're impersonating it. So it looks pretty darn close to what it is, which, again, another tactic.
It does. And what we want everyone to do is just not fall for getting rerouted. Go to the site that you know is trusted. Do a quick search in a search engine for IRS or Wisconsin Department of Revenue, and then go there. And they have quick links for where's my refund, what's the status of my refund, and then enter that information there. And if you think maybe there really was a problem and it seems like it's something that could have happened, just call them directly. Again, we're circling back to what you said, unexpected. Well, don't respond to that unexpected contact. We want you to initiate that outreach.
Well, it's interesting and it's bumming because again another way but some of those classic tall tale signs might help you stop and do it. But it just stands, the government doesn't generally reach out to you unexpectedly. It just doesn't happen, and we could say it over and over again, but it's got to be important. It's got to be said over and over again.
It's exactly it. It has to be said over and over again. And it's not just us saying it here, but it's everyone that's listening and watching. We want them to also kind of advocate, share the word, let everyone else know what's going on, because a lot of us are going to have to file our taxes. So the more that you can share that information, the more awareness you're going to bring to it. And then what happens is less people are victimized. And the less that are victimized, the less scams that we're going to see being kind of cast out there because they know it's not working. So that doesn't mean they'll stop, but they'll take a different pitch, and at least now we know there's a better chance that our refunds are protected.
And if you suspect, or if you find out like that something's been filed and you're like, uh-oh, where would you even start?
I start by reaching out to Wisconsin Department of Revenue. Give them a quick call. They also can assist with some tax-related identity theft. We've done a great job partnering them and working side by side on our identity theft recovery. And so if there's a tax implication, they have a great network of resources that'll help you get that fixed. And then, of course, if there's some offshoots of that regards to maybe new credit cards or loans, we'll help out with that. But I would start there, especially if it's tax-related.
It's good to know. Don't be afraid. It definitely happens, and we wouldn't be here talking about it if it didn't. So hopefully we can stop it from happening, and then you just keep your guard up out there and staying safe. People want to learn more about just generally, there's a lot of information here in this specific area, and especially tax time right now. You can sign up for the newsletter now. You can sign up for other things on the website. But getting out to the website is a great place to just a starting spot if you're really curious.
It is. So if you visit us at datcp.wi.gov, you'll find some literature on tax-related identity theft, gun-related identity theft, tools and things that you can help with recovery. As Jeremy mentioned, the Wisconsin Consumer News, you can sign up for our new newsletter, which will share some of this information and have some tips and resources, which is fantastic. And then you could also sign up for any of our social media accounts, which we kind of keep those updated with new things we're seeing. We had a release just on here, tax-related ID theft on our social media. So that will help you stay aware of what's going on, what's new, what's trending.
It's right on their website too. Take action now. I love it. I love those buzzwords. But in all seriousness, do the homework as normal. Stay aware of these things, and know during any time of specific season, tax time, your medical stuff, anything. There's always a time of year, and you're going to see more of it. Well, you know why.
Absolutely. Happens. And in that sense, I'm glad you made the pitch for those resources we talked about, because as we go throughout the year, we'll highlight those different things that we see start to spike at different times throughout. And so that helps you say, what, I might see more of this, so what should I be looking for?
The show has turned into more of a personal reminder for me to think of all of these
That's okay.
But I hope you're out there enjoying learning a little bit more about these things too, and help fight back against all this. Michael, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. As always, check out the website for more information, and we'll have Michael and the gang back next month.
Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate it.